Hey, Fitheads. Today we talk with Dr. Mike Van Thielen, and he is, I just came up with this, Max, the Biohack King. Get it?
That's very good. I think I get it because of the sound.
And the pun. Anyway, he biohacks a whole lot on himself. He's tried out a bunch of different stuff in tandem. So we dive into that, what's worked for him, what he uses for his clients. He's also a mentor for other people, really trying to either up their health from illness or get to the baseline point of good nutrition and fitness, or then next level biohack beyond that. He's helping people through that process, which is really cool, all the way up to working with top athletes about their mental focus. That was
really one of my
cool.
favorite parts, actually. I mean, this podcast is all about just, we have people on and then they say something and then I'm like, what?
Welcome to Total Fitheads.
Serious fitness for not so serious people.
Dr. Mike Van Thielen. Am I pronouncing it correctly?
Right. Thielen.
Okay.
It's Dutch, but Mike's just fine,
Okay. Dr. Mike, how about that?
Yes, perfect.
Awesome. So glad to have you. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Heck yeah. So before we dive into all that you're doing now, can we just give the Fitheads a little background of, where you come from and how you got to where you are?
Yes, different versions, short, medium, and long, but let's go with medium then. You probably hear an accent. I'm originally from Belgium. I grew up in Belgium, Europe. Did physical education there and then physical therapy at the University of Brussels. Then I decided to save $400 because we weren't well off. I packed my backpack and came to America to live the American dream. And so I came here in 1997, just after I was the technical advisor and assistant coach for Olympic swimmers in preparation for the Olympic Games in Atlanta in 1996. So I came here actually as a physical therapist in 97. And then I got exposed to acupuncture, herbal medicine, and those types of things. And I saw that in conjunction with physical therapy and conventional medicine, we actually got good results. So I went back to school, got my license in acupuncture, doctor of oriental medicine, board certified in Chinese herbs, homeopathy, the list goes on. And after another 1,000 patients or so, I said, well, these procedures and therapies are less invasive and less harmful than conventional medicine, meaning drugs and surgeries, but I didn't see the long-lasting results either. So I figured I had to go back to basics, and I decided to get my PhD in holistic nutrition, but also look at the animals in the wild and look at Mother Nature, because Mother Nature never lies. And by doing those two, I really think I figured out the truths about health. And since then, I'm confident I can help anybody with their health issues. So since then, I've published several books. I've been doing a lot of keynote speaking. COVID, of course, put a little bit of hamper on that, but we're back up and rolling. And so today I feel I'm in a position where I can be a good mentor, which I did not have. I had to, I got knocked down many times and had to get back up. My motto quickly became I never lose, I win or I learn. So I had to learn a lot. And so I never had that mentor. So I feel I want to be a mentor to people to cut the curve, save time, show them the pitfalls, and move them in the right direction, whether that's in health or in business or in their personal life. So today I'm doing a lot of, talking just like now, but also in person, conventions, congresses, biohacking congresses. And then I try to get mentees to enter my mentorship programs. So that's where I am today. Short version.
Solid. So I didn't realize I was talking to originally a gym teacher. Now I'm nervous. Hope we get a good grade.
I never taught gym. I just have that license.
Sorry, physical education. Got it. Okay. So you could be. And you're like, I'll just get other education beyond that. Yeah, that's what struck me most about your story, that you just dove into more and more education, learning more. You get curious, yes. And then you add on certificates. Great.
Yeah, got a whole bunch, never gets boring that way, right? But you got to stay on the edge. So, in my mentorship programs, when people, want to biohack, most people are not ready to biohack because most people are at a stage where they have a disease or they're overweight or they're in pain. And so step number one is regain control of your health, meaning balancing your body and make sure there's no pain and no medical conditions, getting back to quote unquote normal. Step number two is optimize health. So now we want to be vital and strong, and we want to be in control of our physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual well-being. And only when you're in optimal health, you can, get the benefits of biohacking, which basically means objectively reversing your biological age. You guys know I'm 70, right?
What?
No, 51. But that's what biohacking is about. Biohacking today, a lot of science fiction has become science fact today, and it's available to us. Most people just don't know about it. But I really believe we can't live to be at 200. Science says that by 2030, technology has gotten us so far that we could be living to 142. But what I believe today is that the 100 could be the new 30. In other words, yes, we could be 100 years old, but we don't have to be suffering. We could be doing the things that we do as a 30-year-old. We could go hiking. We could go on vacation. We could go ski that mountain, even at 100 years old. But what we need to do is reverse our biological age, repair, renew, regenerate. And that's possible today.
Well, that's an interesting concept. I've never thought about this, that you shouldn't even be looking into biohacking and working in that direction until you have the foundations. And you've gotten rid of illness and then got your nutrition and fitness right. Yeah. But
most people don't know how to do that. So, for example, right now I offer a 20-minute free Zoom call for everybody on my website. The calendar is right there. So what we do during the Zoom call is, where are you health-wise, right? And where do you want to be? And then we come up with a plan and strategy, and I'll be relentless and make you accountable until you reach that goal. So I have different mentorship programs. So from a health point of view, that's where are you and what are your struggles? And so I personally am just that, a mentor. I don't have my own supplements or technologies or equipment, but I know what's out there. So I feel I'm in a really good position, to customize a plan, see where you are, where you're going to go, and then say, I would do this, and this, and make you accountable and follow up every week and make sure you reach your goals. So I do that mostly for health, but I'd also do it for business. That doesn't mean I know people's business, whether they're in automotive or finances. I don't know anything about those two, right? But what I do is I make sure that they have a plan, a strategy, a vision, that they don't have too many distractions, that they have the right people working for them, because most people don't like to fire people, but many times we need to fire people, that they're not involved in projects that take away time from what they really need to do, which is doing projects that fit their dreams and their goals, make them accountable, and those types of things.
And so what's the most common spot you find people are stuck in?
Well, unfortunately, still that first one. However, I get more and more people that are in phase number 2. They're not diseased, they're not overweight, they're exercising, they're trying to be healthy, because those are the people that I usually meet at conferences, right? Because they have an interest in what I have to say or what other people at those conferences have to say. So it's more and more people that are, that are okay, they're not diseased, they're doing okay, but they want to get to that next stage, which is optimal health. And then we can start biohacking. So.
And you also work with pro athletes, right? That's like next level of optimized already.
Well, yeah, I personally swam a world record in 2019 in the 45 plus category. And now just started to train again for the World Championships in August 2023 in Japan. However, they just announced it a few weeks ago, and I've not been swimming. So the time frame is a little bit short, but I'm still going to try. But the only way I can do that is biohack. In other words, I'm competing in the 50 plus. I can't swim every day like everybody else does. So I'm only going to swim limitedly. I'm going to go to the gym probably once a week, and I'm going to swim 3 times, but I can't swim once or twice a day. So I need to compensate a different way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to, make myself a 40-year-old competing in a 50-year-old category and win that way, right? Even though my chronological age is 50. So I got a hyperbaric oxygen chamber in my bedroom. I got a far infrared sauna. I got hydrogen water I drink. I got certain biohacking supplements, and I sleep on a anti-aging bed cover that's grounded, that feeds me negative ions and protects EMF, and the list goes on and on and on. So I need to compensate for not being able to swim or train as my competition will be doing right now.
So when you're trying all these things out, the trouble I find is that there are too many variables. When you get that hyperbaric oxygen chamber and then you start drinking your water and you're sleeping on whatever bed, which one of those things made a difference? And perhaps one of them's making things worse. Or are you trying everything individually?
Yeah, that's a very good question. And there's a process. I have two people working with me. One of them is my friend Don. And when I was a CEO of a stem cell company, he was my vice president. And I figured out that he's very detail oriented. He's more of an R&D, research and development guy. So when I go somewhere, or I go to a Biohacking conference, or I stumble upon something, I send it to him and said, review. What that means is, let's look at the research. Because there's a lot of hocus pocus out there, right? I mean, gadgets that don't work and things that don't work. So first of all, let's look at the research and be critical of the research too, because today most research is propaganda, right? So we got to be careful. But let's do the research. And then if we feel it's something that could benefit us, then we get it for ourselves and we try it ourselves. And then we decide whether it's working for us or not. And if it works for us, then we can put it in our list of things that we can recommend to our mentees or to our clients. And so that's how we do it, one by one. Now, when you use all those things together, it means I try them individually. We did the research. We feel this is something that works. But yeah, if you do 5-6 things together, you don't really know, what works into what extent, in what you're planning to do. Like if I swim the world record or become a world champion in 2023, I will contribute it to biohacking. And biohacking means I did X amount of sessions of hyperbaric, and I took these supplements, and I slept on this, and I did this, and I did this. I don't have any time to test one thing 1 year and the next thing another year, right?
Okay.
Is there anything you've thrown out?
Yeah, we throw out a lot of stuff. Sometimes there's even research on things and we try it, but we don't really feel any difference. And often, especially when it comes to supplements, I can, for example, I could drink 5 cups of coffee before I go to bed. It won't keep me awake. I will fall asleep. Same with an energy drink. That doesn't have an effect on me. So often, when there's a supplement, I'll have to give it to several people that are more sensitive, or give it to people with an ailment or with something that this supplement is designed for, and then basically ask them if it works for them, and people that I know, my family, my friends that I can trust. So I give them samples and see what their feedback is. And if everybody says didn't do anything for me, then it's just a no, and I'll never revisit it. So first research, and then a little sample trial within my inner circle. And that's how we do it.
Is there a one where you immediately knew, like the first time you got out of your hyperbaric chamber, you felt 30?
No, because if you look at the research again, like let's say the hyperbaric research says after 40 treatments it's different research, but what I'm doing now, I'm starting 40 treatments of 1 hour at 1.3 atmosphere, which is a home unit. You can go higher, but there's not much difference between a 1.3 and a 2.0, which is a medical device. And so that shows a drastic increase, not just in, because I have 100% oxygen while I'm in there, in my lungs, and VO2 max, which is your endurance capability as an athlete, but it also shows a drastic increase in stem cell generation in your body. So after 40 treatments, there's about a 37% increase in the number, quantity, and quality of stem cells in your body. And stem cells obviously repair, regenerate, and things like that. So your recovery is much faster. So that's the research. And so hyperbaric is nothing new. There's many testimonials and people that I have seen benefiting from research, but those people have medical conditions like a stroke or traumatic brain injury, Parkinson's, and those types of things. So there's lots of hyperbaric out there because it's not something that just popped up yesterday. Michael Phelps slept in a hyperbaric chamber all the time. He slept during the night, not just 1 hour. He slept in a hyperbaric chamber.
Wow.
So.
Sounds fun.
That's crazy. I didn't know that about VO2 max. That seems like such a great hack. You're not even working out. You're just sitting there. And VO2.
If you look at sports, sports teams and athletes in the past and probably still today, they go on altitude training. Right? Yeah. To get a better oxygenation and get a better blood because of the resistance. So then when they come back to sea level, they perform faster. And so a lot of athletes in the past did that, but we don't have to go to altitude training. We just get the pressure in our chamber. And so it has the same effects as altitude training.
Right. Interesting.
Yeah.
Because VO2 max is...
The U.S. Olympic Training Center is in Colorado, right? Isn't that?
Boulder. Yeah, there's a very good training center. A lot of athletes go there. They got all the testing
Colorado's that you can think of. They do that same thing. They have altitude and they say they come back.
Yeah,
it's unbelievable.
Correct.
I've tried hyperbaric in a medical device, like a big tank. I had room to do cartwheels. It wasn't just a fun thing. Yes. It was for I guess you would call it an injury. I had sudden onset hearing loss, and it didn't do anything. Although I wish I'd have known that my VO2 max was getting better in there. I would have tested that out during the couple of weeks where I was going every day. What a bummer.
When you're testing all this stuff out, what indicators are you looking at? Are you looking at HRV? Are you looking at VO2 max? Are you looking at speed in the water? Like what sort of
objective stuff, like how you feel?
Yeah,
and again, it's a compilation of things, right? So of course, any athlete, better oxygenation, bigger lungs, bigger VO2 max is always going to help, right? Mm-hmm. And so it's not that you can measure that, but like Al said, there is like you can measure it, but you're doing so many other things at the same time. So if I would measure my VO2 max capacity before the hyperbaric and then do 40 sessions and measure it again, and it's better, then we had that test. But the test has been done so many times, I don't need to repeat that test because it wouldn't be fair because I'm swimming more, I'm going to the gym, and I'm doing all kinds of other stuff, right? So we can't say it's the hyperbaric that did it. That's all these variables, and I don't have the time to do the test, but that specific tests have been done 100 times over, right? So, for example, from an athlete perspective, I started to take L-carnosine a while back as part of my supplements because L-carnosine now is proven to help eliminate lactic acid from the muscles. So from an athletic perspective, why wouldn't I not start taking L-carnosine, right? So hydrogen water is something that I just started. I always had filtered water, of course. I don't want any, metals or lead or chlorine or chloramine in my water. So I always had some type of a unit at the house. But now we have a unit that I have here that not only cleans the water and purifies it, but it also infuses with hydrogen gas. And it has a little outlet so the oxygen gets out so it can bind back and form water again. But if you go to hydrogenstudies.com, there's thousands and thousands of studies. There's even a search bar. You type in your ailment, like Crohn's disease or irritable bowel, whatever it may be, and the studies will pop up. But it's amazing on how, hydrogen really helps with many things in your body, especially free radical damage. And that's from an athlete's perspective. It does many things. It helps with the brain, helps with the gut and your immune system enormously. I can explain that, but it's going to take time. But the reason I take it is because it keeps your NADPH levels high, and NADPH is the battery of your cells. And we all know the free radical theory, right? We have free radicals that cause damage on a DNA level, and the only thing we can do is what we think is consume antioxidants because they donate an electron to the free radical to make it stable again, right? But when an antioxidant like vitamin C, vitamin D, vitamin E, glutathione, zinc, selenium, when we take that, whether it's as a supplement or through whole foods, When that antioxidant donates an electron to the free radical becomes stable again, but the antioxidant is done. There's nothing else it can do. It's done with doing what it's going to do. However, if we have ample NADPH in our body, NADPH is the battery of the cell. It's like an electron reservoir. The antioxidant gives an electron, and the reservoir, has an electron. And the reservoir keeps on giving electron to that same antioxidant, so that same antioxidant can continue to neutralize free radicals. We're going to be much more effective in neutralizing those free radicals, which means recovery, functioning better, etc. So there's so many things that we can do to optimize performance, and many times it's making sure that this body functions better, repairs DNA, optimize mitochondrial function. All those types of things will end up in, a better machinery that will perform better.
Yeah. So it sounds like the things in tandem will actually multiply each other too.
Synergistically, yes, exactly. Yeah.
Do you feel less sore now after the L-carnosine?
Yeah, I mean, the L-carnosine needs to build up 6 to 10 weeks in your system before you kind of feel you recover faster. So that's something that kind of needs to build up in your system.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I feel like that's
but one advantage in sports, right, is postponing that threshold.
Right. Of course, you can push harder. Yeah. And hurt less, and then get back at it sooner. How much are you sleeping? 10, 20 hours a day?
No, about 8, about 8 though. Okay. When I go in the hyperbaric for an hour, I try to multitask. Obviously, I got 100% oxygen, but I also do some meditation.
Have a cigarette.
Yes, cigarette, meditation. Ignite that whole oxygen.
Up and down.
Yes. Oh, meditation. Okay. So mindfulness too is a part of your biohacking?
Well, yes, it certainly is, because, even when you ask a regular sports coach how much of the game is mental, they usually answer between 50 and 90%. Jack Nicklaus, the golfer, said 90%, but research shows it's 100%. And, it's hard to say 100%, but if you look at top athletes, whether it's NFL players or golfers, they all have skills, they all have talent, right? So who wins? It's usually the one who's better here mentally, right? I mean, a good example is Michael Jordan. He was always in the zone. He never had an off game. Even when he's sick and you see he's sweating not from the exertion, but just because he's suffering and he's running a fever, he still makes the winning point because he's in the zone, right? And so when you look at other top athletes, even now in the NFL, NBA, it doesn't matter, they had a great game today, and then tomorrow they don't score or they're off game, and it's, they had a bad day. But why is that? Because their physical capabilities are the same than yesterday, and their skills are the same, their talents is the same. The difference was here, they are distracted, right? Something happened at home with their wife, with the kids, who knows what happened, but they're distracted, they're not in the zone. And so we all experience being in the zone, but for most people, it just was a coincidence. So today's top athletes and myself, we know how to get in the zone. And so you could bring your A game on demand, and Michael Jordan always knew how to do that. And it's about balancing your 5 intelligence hormones. And if you know how to do that, you can be in the zone and bring your A game all the time and win all the time. And it's a huge difference in sports, because think about your golf player that misses a simple putt. That's going to carry over the next few holes. Think about a wide receiver that misses a ball. It's going to affect his next few plays. But if you're Michael Jordan or you're in the zone, it doesn't affect you, because all you're thinking about is the win at the end. And therefore it doesn't affect the game, because it's not part of the game. It's, they only have the end in mind to winning. But that only happens when you're in the zone and when your 5 intelligence hormones are balanced.
How do you
usually the difference between winning and losing in professional sports? Yeah.
Wow.
If you're in the zone, you can anticipate a ball better. You can anticipate other people's movement better because you're not distracted by anything. So you react quicker, you anticipate better, you make better decisions, and you're not affected by the miss that happened a second ago.
These
So you think
intelligence hormones, or you're talking about dopamine, serotonin,
Yes, dopamine,
epinephrine?
dopamine, serotonin, epinephrine, norepinephrine, and acetylcholine. The problem today in today's society is that we have a dopamine overload, right? Because dopamine is.
Hold on, I just got a notification.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
There it is. There's your dopamine squirt, right?
That's the world.
So we're in a dopamine overload and we're seeking it because it's the reward hormone. The brain squirts dopamine, we feel good. So yes, it's your sugary drinks and it's your energy drinks and your coffee, but social media, right? You just showed it to us because we get that like, we get that heart on Instagram, we get a comment that's positive. So it feels good. So we get addicted to it because it gives us the dopamine. So, but if dopamine is in excess, then the hormones are out of balance. And with a dopamine overload, we get into a brain fog. We don't have any focus. We lose attention. We can't be very productive. We can't get things done. And it's a vicious cycle. So there's many tips and strategies that we can implement to avoid that, such as limiting your social media, understanding that you don't need that extra dopamine. If you need to complete a task or homework, there's many things you can do. Assign a certain place in the house or at the office for that. Close the door. Tell family members not to come in. Put your phone in another room. Use the Pomodoro technique, which means you're going to 20 minutes focus, no distractions, phone in another room, and then 5 minutes break where you can check your phone and go back in and do 4 or 5 cycles of that. So there's many, many, many things that we can do to do that. And on top of that, there are some natural nootropics, unlike smart drugs like Adderall, that can help you with that also.
Yeah, we'd love to talk about that.
Sure.
More limitless, yes.
Yeah, why are you so anti-Adderall?
Well, I know it works, but I'm against big pharma and drugs. Number one, number two, people that take it. I never took it. Obviously get addicted to it and it works and it does a job. But we also know we can read all the side effects: increased blood pressure, increased risk for heart disease and long-term use, even personality disorders. So that's really not something that anybody wants to promote. So, I've been looking at nootropics for a while, which means natural alternatives to biohack the brain or to, focus better. And so last year I came a product called Focus Plus, because a doctor that I worked with in another field is a renowned cancer doctor, and he stumbled upon Biocitroid. And Biocitroid is a patent-pending terpene that's extracted from a certain type of blood orange in the rainforest in Southeast Asia, right? And now at 30 milligrams, Biocitroid is able to enter the blood-brain barrier or cross the blood-brain barrier. What that means is that it has a fast effect. Within 30 minutes, you feel it. Again, most supplements, we just talked about carnosine, take several weeks to get into your system and hopefully feel some type of effect. This works in 30 minutes. And what the company ClariGenZ did is they added 3 other neuro agents to it. Number one, they added L-tyrosine, which is an amino acid, a precursor to dopamine and epinephrine, which helps with mental clarity and focus and things like that. They also added phenylalanine, which is another neuro agent, which helps with visualization and photographic memory and memorizing and those types of things. And then the third one is even more important to me. It's phosphatidylate. Phosphatidylate is a healthy fat that's in our body, but also in the brain. But phosphatidylate stimulates NGF, nerve growth factor. So it increases neurotransmitters and it grows new connections, neural connections. So we actually are getting smarter by stimulating nerve growth factor. We are making more connections and using more of our brain, because we all know we only use this very small percentage of our brain. So those 4 together have been shown to balance those 5 intelligence hormones that we talked about. And when they're balanced, you're going to have maximum focus. You're going to be in the zone. You're not going to be distracted, and you can perform and get things done. And it lasts about 6 hours, I would say. It works in 30 minutes, lasts about 6 hours. And it has no side effects. It's safe. And unlike energy drinks and sugar and coffee, there's no jittery effects, nothing like that at all.
Interesting. 6 hours, that sounds like close to the half-life of caffeine. Is this something where you should limit having it before bed?
Well, yeah, I mean, sleep is so important that you want to rest, you want to get in a deep alpha delta wave, and you want to repair, regenerate. So yeah, you're not going to take it for bed. Why would you take it for bed? Are you going to focus while you're sleeping? You're not, right? So 1 or 2 a day, right, during the waking hours. If you implement certain tips and strategies, which will be plenty of in my upcoming book called The Key to Your Success, hopefully published by the end of this year. I'm working hard on it. It has a lot of tips and strategies, and many people may not need the supplement or the Focus Plus when they implement those, and only would want to take one when they actually have to kill a presentation they're going to do, or kill some sales goals, or are going to work out in the gym, or are going to compete. Then certainly I would take them. But it doesn't mean you have to take them every day. There's other things you can do to make yourself, focus better, being aware of what's distracting you and how you can remedy those. And so for the listeners, check out my website and my upcoming book and get a copy.
Yeah, this is interesting. So non-drug alternatives, and then when you really want to amp it up, schedule in the Focus Plus.
Yes.
Okay.
Why wouldn't you take it every day?
Right. Is this something where you get used to it and you...
Yeah. You certainly can take it every day, actually up to 2 times, which will give you 12 hours of focus, right? And again, we talked briefly about research, and, I always smile when people say, oh, research. Again, we got to be careful with research, because you usually you find what you're looking for when it comes to research. And at the same time, the last few years, research is mostly propaganda. So we got to be very careful. So the best thing to do is try things, right? And see if they work for you. So the ClariGen company currently, not always, but currently gives away free samples. So if you go to trysmartpill.com, TRY smart SMART pill PILL.com, you can get 2 pills. And so what I suggest, when you get those for free, you can try them. Take one. If in 30 minutes you really don't feel anything, take the second one. There's only 2 pills, and see what it does for you in the next 6 hours. And if it doesn't work, don't buy it. And if it works, you got something that may help you getting things done.
I mean, if they're convincing you with 2 pills, that seems pretty effective. If they're that confident that that's all you need is 2 pills to be converted.
Yeah, it kind of depends. Doesn't work for me. I mean, I don't feel it. Doesn't say it doesn't work for me. I don't feel it. But I gave it to a few people that I know with ADHD that are on certain medications, Ritalin, Wellbutrin, blah, blah, blah. And so they tried it, and they are making the transition from the medicine to just using that. So it works for them. Otherwise, they wouldn't be doing it. I have some football players and a golfer that swear by it, and they took it and they feel it. They feel a difference with just that trial sample. So obviously they're going to stay on it. They're going to purchase it. And if it doesn't do anything for you, I suggest don't use it, right? Maybe it's not for you.
Yeah, it seems like you're saying you don't trust the studies of a bunch of people. Do a study on yourself.
I'm not
right?
saying don't trust them. I say be critical of them. Especially in today's age, we need to practice critical thinking. Just don't believe somebody blindly. Don't believe me either. Just try it for yourself. See for yourself. And if there's research, do some critical thinking. I told somebody last week, it's like, okay, it says that this does this, and you're convinced of it because of all the research. Why don't you Google on PubMed the opposite, that this doesn't do this, and see if you get some results? And you always get some, which is the funny part. And now you get, opposing studies, and now you gotta be doing some critical thinking, or put something to the test, or go look further. Who conducted this study, and what companies are they involved in, and how would it benefit the outcome? And maybe you stumble upon something. Often you do.
I'm not worried about the other studies that are saying it's not working versus it's working. I'm worried about it taking years off my life and not realizing it. Yeah, maybe I'll be a better athlete right now, but we've had some people on the show where I was like, yeah, this seems so experimental that I might feel positive, but not know it's actually harmful.
Yes,
you know?
and that's good. That's why you want to stick when it comes to experimental. You don't want to go with pharmaceutical drugs, right? Because Vioxx came on the market, was supposedly FDA approved and tested for arthritis, and thousands of people died, right? So it wasn't even experimental because there was money and lobbying involved. But when you take something that's 100% natural, that has studies, not necessarily for what you're using it for, that it's safe, like vitamin C. Vitamin C is considered off-label. If a doctor tells you to take vitamin C, they just gave you an off-label recommendation, right? Doctors always, say, "Oh, science, science, science." Neuropathy. I mean, how many millions of people in the United States have neuropathy? The drugs they prescribe for neuropathy, because they don't have a drug for neuropathy, are all anticonvulsants. They're seizure drugs like Cymbalta and gabapentin and Neurontin. They're all anticonvulsants. So that's experimental too. So people don't realize how many things are experimental, but those are dangerous experiments because we're talking about drugs that those people are going to be on long term, that even on their own label have a whole watch list of possible side effects, just like, antidepressants could make you commit suicide. So I don't know if that's a good thing to take, right? But when we're talking about an amino acid and some neuro agents that are considered safe, we're not really taking a risk. But it's always good to have somebody like me or a functional medicine doctor guide you if you don't have a medical background on dosing, on stacking, on taking certain things together, because they always look at us like, oh, how do you know that this and this, is it going to cancel each other out? Is it going to be synergistic? You don't know. Well, just look at conventional medicine and look at any patient that's on a multitude of medications. Somebody that's on 3-4 medications, try to find one study that compares or shows, on how those 4 medications interact. You will find none. So what I'm saying is it happens all the time and nobody knows with medications. But yet, if we combine vitamin C with vitamin D, they point out that there's no study of vitamin C and D doing, A, B, or C. We know that vitamin C helps with the immune system. We know vitamin D does. So yes, I'm taking it together regardless or not there's a study out there on vitamin C and D. Because they're not harmful to our body. Yeah.
It's like my life is too short to use the scientific
That's why I need to biohack.
All the things.
That's why I need to biohack so you have more time to figure it out.
Do you find that people are overtaking or undertaking stuff?
When it comes to what?
Supplements,
Drugs?
vitamins. Yeah, whatever they can get their hands on.
Yeah, no, anything synthetic that's made by pharmaceutical companies, I'll never take. If I get in a car accident and they put me in an ER, save my life. But for me, that's the only form of medicine that's necessary. I don't have health insurance. I don't go to a doctor. Going to a doctor is the 3rd cause of death in the United States. That's not my statistics. It's their statistics. It's cancer, heart disease, and then medical errors. So why would I pay to go into a building that's the 3rd cause of death? That's just common sense. I don't do that. So I need to be responsible for my own health, and I need to be responsible for me and my loved ones, and I need to know what I'm doing to stay healthy myself. So when it comes to drugs, I would say no. When it comes to nutrients, essential nutrients that our body needs, everybody's undertaking, I always say that you don't need to be a health freak to be healthy. I don't know how much time we have left, but I can explain a very simple concept that causes a little bit of paradigm shift in the way you think about health. Do we have time for that?
We love simple paradigm shifts. Go.
So here's why you don't be a health freak, and this is why a lot of people get diseased. So our body has an estimated 75 trillion cells. We can't grasp that number. It's more than the stars in the entire galaxy. But we have 75 trillion cells. Now, each and every one of those cells performs a few million chemical reactions per second. So if you want to know how many chemical reactions there occur in your body at any given second, you simply have to multiply. You can pick up that phone again, it won't work. Simply have to multiply 75 trillion with a few million. So next time somebody asks you if you're busy, you say yes, extremely, right? But
I'm doing some chemical reactions.
yeah. So each and every one of those cells also has 100,000 receptors on the outer membrane. And the RNA, the messenger of the cell, constantly tells those receptors what it is that the cell needs from the extracellular environment to repair, replenish, renew itself, right? So for example, the messenger says, hey, we need vitamin C, or hey, we need omega-3. So there's 100,000 receptors stick out their neck and try to find that vitamin C or omega-3. Now, due to our standard American diet, SAD, that vitamin C is not available, right? So now the cell in the body is forced to settle for less potent, incompatible nutrients. And that's what will cause degeneration and mutation, which is disease and cancer. It's like having an original paper and making a copy and then making a copy of a copy. You can't read it anymore. The same happened with cell replication and division. If we can't give it the right nutrients or the right parts, we will get degeneration and mutation, disease and cancer. So what did we learn here? We simply learned that we don't have to be health freaks, but we have to give our body all the essential nutrients it needs on a daily basis so it can repair, replenish, and renew itself, and you'll never will be diseased. The problem is that 99% of us, don't give our body those nutrients. They only eat bad stuff. And if we only eat bad stuff and consume, nutrient depleted, foods and drinks, then the body is forced to degenerate and mutate, which is disease and cancer. But if I make sure to juicing, high quality supplements and wholesome foods, I get everything I need on a daily basis, then it's okay for me and Dr. Mike to have a taco on Tuesday and 2 beers on Saturday, et cetera, because my body still has everything it needs to stay in optimal health.
Oh, I like that you're not an all or nothing mentality.
No. But you got to get all the good stuff on a daily basis or you get in trouble. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
So to answer Max's question, yes, most people undertake the things they need when it comes to health.
Got it. And where can the Fitheads go find your mentorship? Remind us again.
Yeah, my website is called biohackingunlimited.com or MVT, Mike Van Thielen, mvtonline.com. It's the same website. My books are there. My speaking bio is there. You can find links to my YouTube channel and some podcasts there. But most importantly, right now, you get a 20-minute free Zoom call. You can schedule right there on a calendar to see where you are and where you want to be and how I would suggest we approach that strategically. And you also can actually review the different mentorship programs I have on that website.
Awesome. Sounds great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And it was wonderful having you. And thank you to the Fitheads for watching. And if you can rate and review on Apple Podcasts, that helps us out a whole lot. And we'll see you next week.